Alright, so let's take a look at the comprehension, the first lighthouse. Over 2,000 years ago, please open on page 52. Over 2,000 years ago, work began on the world's first lighthouse. The order to build it came from the king of Egypt. He wanted it to be the first, the biggest, and the best lighthouse the world has ever seen. Thousands of workers were brought to a small island off the coast of Egypt, where the lighthouse was to be placed. It was to be many years before their work was finished. First, they had to lay down a large square building on which to put the lighthouse tower. When the tower was finished, it stood over 150 meters high. It had 8 sides and was built of white marble. At the top of this great tower was the lantern of the lighthouse, and on top of the lantern was placed a huge bronze statue of the Egyptian sun god. What a sight it must have been! By day and by night, a bright fire was kept burning in the round lantern of the lighthouse. Wood for the fire was carried to the top by means of a lift, which went up through the center of the tower. It was a lift worked by water power, another invention of the clever Egyptians. However, the most brilliant idea of all was the way they used a big mirror to reflect the light from the fire out across the sea. It was said that the light could be seen for 45 kilometers. During the day, the great white lighthouse was a fine landmark for any sailors at sea. During the night, the powerful beam of light helped to guide ships and to warn them of the rocks along the coast. Egypt's lighthouse became known all over the ancient world and was listed as one of the 7 wonders of the world. It stood for almost 1,500 years until it was finally destroyed by an earthquake. Sadly, there is hardly a trace of the lighthouse left today. Good. Let's take a look at the questions. Number 1. Where was the lighthouse built? Please remember to go back to your reading passage. But where was the lighthouse built? A small island off the coast of Egypt. Please don't fill it in now. Please be fair. Go do this on your own. I'm just going through the questions and the answers with you, and then you go do it by yourself. Number 2. Who ordered it to be built? Well, the king of Egypt. Number 3. What was placed on top of the lantern? And on top of the lantern was placed a huge bronze statue of the Egyptian sun god. Number 4. How was wood for the fire taken to the top? Wood for the fire was carried to the top by means of a lift. What was the mirror used for? They used a big mirror to reflect the light from the fire out across the sea. Why do you think the lighthouse was built of white marble? That one I can tell you now, white is the easiest to see at night, so it was so that it can easily be seen at night by the ships or the sailors. How long did the building last? At the bottom it says it stood for almost 1,500 years. What happened to the lighthouse? An earthquake. Good. Work began on the lighthouse over 3,000 years ago. If you look at your reading passage, you will see they say it's 2,000 years ago. Hundreds of workers were brought to the island. They say thousands were, so false. The lighthouse tower stood just under 150 meters. They say in the reading passage over. The lighthouse had 8 sides. That is true. There was a lantern on top of the bronze statue. No, the bronze statue was on top of the lantern. The lantern was square-shaped. No, it wasn't. It was round. The lift went up through the center of the tower. That is true. And the light could be seen for 45 miles. No, it could be seen for 45 kilometers. And then at the bottom, you need to separate these words. Lighthouse becomes lighthouse. Bedroom, bedroom. Handbag, handbag. Campfire, campfire. Homesick, homesick. Inside, inside. Good. So you are going to go do these questions. I want in your book for you to write. I think today is the 27th. Okay, so in your workbook that I put in the packet, I want you to write 27 October in cursive and neat. Please take your Minky Monkey seriously. Make them correctly. And then your heading, also in cursive, the first light house. There we go. And then you're going to draw your line, cross Minky Monkey number 1, Minky Monkey number 2, or whatever, as you go on until you have finished A. Okay, so A you are doing in your workbook, B and curly you do in the English Commons book itself. Alright, so after the comprehension you are finished.